Hello everyone and welcome to my Wild Rift 3.5 patch notes breakdown. It's finally here. We've waited some time for this, but it's coming out tomorrow. I have the patch notes to go through with you all. We got new champions, we got a new game mode, we got buffs and nerfs, new items, new runes. There's so many changes. There's a total of 31 pages, so I don't want to wait too long and keep you all for too long, but I'm very curious to see how long this is going to take to read through all of these patch notes and give you all my opinions. I always like to break them down as much as I can, give you all my opinions and whether I agree or disagree, or whether I think a champion might be good enough or not to come back into the meta. There's a little bit of an intro here if you want to give it a quick read. It's just an intro on the patch notes itself, talking about the new champions, new game mode, etc. There's a little bit of a teaser here as well. You can have a quick look of that. And now we're going to get into the interesting part. So first up, we have the new champions. First is Aatrox. Aatrox is a Baron lane bruiser. If you watch PC League of Legends and if you recently watched the World Championship, you'll know that Aatrox is one of the strongest Baron laners right now in the PC League of Legends meta, just because of how much damage he does, how much healing he does, how strong he is during the laning phase, and how well he scales into the mid and the late game. So I'm really excited that Aatrox is finally coming to Wild Rift. I'm a little bit worried that he might be really strong at the same time. We'll have to see. I will be doing guides on both Aatrox and Kayn tonight as well, as soon as they release builds, combos, everything like that, all the ability breakdowns. So make sure you keep an eye on my channel tonight for both Aatrox and Kayn guides before you jump into Wild Rift and play them yourselves. And speaking of Kayn, that is our next champion that is coming out tonight as well. Kayn is a jungler. Sometimes gets played in the solo lane, but I very highly doubt it that it will be in the solo lane. The cool thing about Kayn is that he has two different forms. So he starts the game off as just normal Kayn, but then he can transform either into red form or blue form. Blue form is Shadow Assassin. It's basically an assassin form, as it mentions. You're going to be dealing a lot of damage. You're going to be super mobile, and it's all about jumping in onto the backline and dealing as much damage as possible. Whereas the red form is called a Rust, and Rust is more of a tanky bruiser. Heals from all of his abilities. He has a knock up as well, and he's able to build a lot more tankier and be a frontline tank for the team, but also be a bit of a nuisance at the same time, because like I said, you have so much healing and so much tankiness that is really hard. I honestly think that red form is going to be better than blue form, but I will be trying both the builds out, and I will be doing videos on both of the Kayn forms when he releases tonight. So really excited to pick up Kayn and Aatrox. I think both these champions are going to be really cool for the meta. New features, we have a gallery skin sets. This is basically just like, you know, KDA, I can't think of any more off the top of my head. Star Guardian as well. Basically like the skin selection tab, or the skin tab that you have, where you can have a look at the collection of the champions and what skins you have. Now you have collections of the skin sets as well, so you can have a look. You can see here, visit the collection tab, you'll see the skin set tab and champions tabs. You can basically go all through that. You'll be able to display your skin sets in the display case on your profile. You can also earn an exclusive title and special effect to show off in champion select if you complete an entire set. Cool. More reason for me to buy some more skins, but we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, looks pretty cool. I kind of like it. More cosmetic stuff. I mean, it is cosmetic at the end of the day. It's not like it's going to make or break the game, or it's not like it's going to give you a crazy buff in game if you go for a certain skin, unlike some other games. But still, cosmetic stuff is always really nice. One for All. Now, One for All is really cool game mode. One for All is basically where you vote for a champion. Your whole team votes for a champion, and then there's a percentage that the champion that you pick will be the one selected for your team to play, and everyone plays the same champion. 5 Aries, 5 Malphites, 5 Yuumis, 5 Master Yis, 5 Seraphines, anything like that. You can get some crazy combos in this game mode. So it's going to be available from November 18th, which is actually a day after the patch, which is going to be quite fun. So I'll definitely be trying this out, and I'll probably be playing with some of you guys. If you want to watch my stream as well, link will be down in the description. I'll definitely be trying this on the stream and giving it a go. Right, this is a really important part, is obviously player behavior. Now, there's been a lot of talk recently about player behavior, matchmaking, etc. So I'm really curious to see what they're going to be doing about player behavior, especially like AFKs and trolls, etc. We know how frustrating it is when players swipe up and out the game and leave you and your team at a disadvantage. This patch, we have a few new adjustments and penalties for this types of behavior. Add a new penalty type for players who are AFK in game and will apply prior to queuing for the next game. Okay, the penalty will apply to the form of X amount of time for Y a number of games. When a player queues, if they have any remaining games, they will sit in a queue for X amount of time before they actually begin searching for the next match. I think this is very, very similar to what they do on PC League. So basically, the more games that you're AFK, the longer you have to wait in queue times. You basically won't queue up for a game until you wait for the timer beforehand. So if you have to wait like 10 minutes to queue up, you have to queue up for 10 minutes and then the queue will start to try and find you into a game. So it's pretty nice. I mean, more penalties for players who are AFK. Only once you accept the match and play out the game will your wide number of games be decreased. Oh, okay, so this also means that this will be decreased over time if you play the full duration. That's not bad. We also introduced a new feature to ranked queue, the matchmaking avoid list. I'm quite excited for this, but the only problem is that this first part here, players in ranks diamond and below will have the ability to add up to 3 other players to their avoid list in the post game lobby. Kind of sad that this is not as available for master and above, especially because how many master and grandmaster players there are at the moment. I understand why they haven't done it for masters and above, because if it goes, it will make matchmaking a lot longer, especially in the early season as well, because if you have someone in your avoid list in like master, grandmaster, or challenger, you could just easily avoid them, but then your matchmaking is going to be, you know, twice as long, maybe even longer than twice as long. So I understand why they haven't done that, but obviously this doesn't make a whole lot of difference to me. It might make a difference for some of you that are in diamond and below, so it's nice to get rid of some of the trolls that you might have in your games. You will now have the option to add players to your void list after leaving post-game lobby. That's fine. When you add someone to your void list, you will no longer be matched with the void listed players on your team in a ranked matchmaking mode. The void listed player will only remain on your void list until the list resets. The void list will reset weekly every Monday. Okay, so you have a reset every Monday, which is not too bad as well. I think it would be okay then if you do it in master. If you have a reset every Monday, then I think it'd be okay to have it in master, but we'll see. In addition to this new penalty, we've also made some adjustments to remake and all chat. So remake vote will now auto trigger. So that means the remake will now happen automatically and you don't have to accept or basically reject a remake anymore. A remake no longer require you to enter the menu and start the remake vote. Now whenever a remake vote becomes available, the vote will automatically start and appear. Oh, so it actually doesn't happen automatically, so it's just the vote itself. I thought when I explained this in the patch preview, I thought it was going to be that the remake would happen automatically, but now this is just the remake vote. So the remake vote will happen automatically, so you don't have to go to the menu and click remake anymore. The vote will happen up automatically, which is fine. And then all chat is being removed as well, which is something that I tweeted about, which got a lot of interesting feedback. To be honest, I don't really see the point of all chat. I mean, I understand. I mean, honestly, the fun part about all chat is legendary queue. I've been having some really fun conversations with people in legendary queue. If I've had like trottles on the enemy team or someone that I know on the enemy team, it's nice to just have a chat with them in all chat, have a bit of a mess around, have a bit of fun. So kind of sad with that, but I understand why they get rid of all chat, because it's not really, you know, it's not really going to make that much big of a difference, to be fair. We know that these are a lot of new changes in the player behavior space, so please send us your feedback. Awesome, love it. Position preference rewards, interesting. We haven't seen this. Starting this patch, you'll now receive missions which will grant you a reward for opting into preferring a role for which there are currently fewer players. Our goal for this update is to encourage players who see a certain role that needed to queue up and fill it, so that the other players in current queue don't have to autofill. Okay, only in ranked to legendary queue for now. We may expand these to other queues in the future. You'll see it as a daily mission that you can fulfill up to 3 times a day. You won't always see this mission. It will only pop up when there are certain roles that needed to be queued. Interesting. I probably won't do this myself, because I pretty much only just play ADC or support, and I don't play really any other roles. I mean, sometimes I play other roles to do guides and everything, but most of the time I don't really. So yeah, I probably won't do this myself, but it's still kind of cool. When you have the mission, you select that role as your first pick. You're guaranteed to get it. You won't receive any rewards if you get punished in that game, like going AFK. That makes sense. In rank Q, the reward will be 40 Hextech energy. The rank fortitude. Okay. In legendary Q, will be rewarded with 4 legendary points. Okay. We get more legendary points. Let's go. Okay. Yeah, 4 legendary points is not really too much. I'd rather play my preferred role and have a better game than be filled and have a chance for me to lose a game, especially with how high elo I am at the moment, like top 50 in the server. So I think it's pretty risky. But anyway, I mean, it's a cool way to try and get people to maybe try new roles, and also a cool way to try and make the queues lost a little bit quicker. So we'll have to see if people actually use this feature or not. Wild Pass skin is Jhin. I'm super excited for the Wild Pass skin. I think Wild Pass skin is going to be amazing. Jhin is, for some of you that may know, was my first main champion when I played Wild Rift. So I'm really excited to try out the skin, really excited to try out Jhin again, because of the new item that's coming into the game as well. I think Jhin will be it'll be very, very interesting to see how well Jhin will perform. But yeah, really excited to try out the new skin. I'll definitely do a video on this new Jhin skin because it is very, very cool. Some events, you've got Dark and Unleashed, which is basically to do with Aatrox and Kayn. And then you have this new one, which is the Crystal Rose promotion. Now, this is another gacha. I'm kind of disappointed because I thought the Supreme Cells was going to be a one-off, but it doesn't seem like it. They're now doing the same for Crystal Rose. So during this patch, you'll be able to dance the night away the Crystal Rose Ball when Crystal Rose, Akali, Riven, and Vi make their appearance. You'll be able to purchase boxes in the store for wild cores, and in each box, you'll be granted one of the following, which is all of this. Now, I personally don't support this. The only reason that I don't mind this is because these are all cosmetics. They're not 100%, you know, needed. Like, you don't need these to be able to carry the game. These skins don't give you an advantage in the game for you to warrant needing to buy the skins. You know, I'll always do content on these skins and these boxes because I know some people out there like to watch the boxes. They like to look at you know, what the percentage chances of getting certain stuff and how lucky you can get sometimes, like I did in the Supreme Cells. So I always do content of these, but it's very difficult for me to kind of support these because obviously, like, loot boxes have never really been a thing that I've really liked. But like I said, because it's cosmetics, I don't mind it that bad. As you can see, these are the things you can get. So Crystal Rose Akali, Crystal Rose Riven, a Vi, you can get Home Guard, Recall, another Home Guard, Akali emote, Riven emote, Vi emote, Bauble, token, and a Poro coins. Each box will cost 100 wild cores. Okay, that is a lot more expensive than the last one. So the Supreme Cells boxes only cost 30 wild cores. This is 100 wild cores. Wow. And we guarantee 20 Poro coins per box and have a chance at anything else. The drop rates for each box. Okay, so these are all the drop rates. We got 100% of getting 20 Poro coins each time. Crystal Rose tokens. What are these? They'll probably come up here with, yeah, tokens. You got the Bauble, emotes. So you got the Baubles, emotes, and Home Guards that are most likely to get. Then you have the Recall, then you have the Mega Home Guard, and then you have all the skins. So Akali is probably going to be a legendary skin because it is a little bit rarer to get than Riven and Vi. So I'm very curious about these tokens. So I'm guessing if you get tokens, then you can add up tokens to get, yeah, there you go. You can add up the tokens and get, you know, things that you want to. Okay, this makes sense. So the Crystal Rose tokens that you can earn, can be redeemed at the token store. The items you can redeem and the token costs are as follows. Okay, so this is very different to the Supreme Cells chest. So I like the Supreme Cells chest, and the reason why I like the Supreme Cells chest is because they said, okay, at 10 boxes, you're guaranteed to get one of the skins. At 30 boxes, you're guaranteed to get another skin. And they basically stopped it at that. You can only buy a maximum of 30 boxes. I don't think there's going to be a maximum of how many boxes you can buy because you might get extremely unlucky and only get one crystal token every single time. And you have to open 32 boxes then if you only get one crystal token to be able to get one skin. That's crazy. That's like, what, 3,200 wild cores if you get extremely unlucky. But obviously you get lucky, you can get a chance to get Akali, Riven, and Vi. I don't like the approach that they go into this. Let's see. I mean, 32 tokens, 24 tokens. Obviously the skins are obviously going to be a lot. Mega Home Guard is 14 tokens, and then you have everything else. Oh, you have a few poses here as well, which you can use for tokens. Borders, Poro, and Poro energy as well, you can also use for tokens. Okay, I'm not really too sure about this. I mean, I like the Supreme Cells one, like I said, because you're always guaranteed to get a chest at 10 or 30 boxes. This one, you're not guaranteed. You can open as many boxes as possible, and sometimes you will get really unlucky. Obviously, I will do the same thing as what I did with Supreme Cells. I'll probably calculate, you know, how much wild cores I spent and whether it was worth it or not to try and get all of the skins. Obviously, my main goal is to get all 3 of the skins, and we'll have to see how long it takes to get all 3 of the skins. So we'll, yeah, we'll see about that. After promotion of these skins will be vaulted, not be able to purchase, but they may return in the future. Crystal promotion will be available from the 26th of November, which I believe is sometime next week, next Saturday. And the Crystal Rose token store will be available from the 26th as well until December 7th. I'm not too sure. I mean, we'll have to see when the boxes come out, but this is very expensive for the boxes. 100 wild cores. I mean, I get it. There's 3 skins. You got some other cool stuff in here, but 100 wild cores is a lot per box. A lot. Right, on to champion changes. I've seen through some of these changes, but some of them I haven't read through at all. This is a huge surprise to me. Ezreal is getting a buff. Now, Ezreal is a champion that is really good in solo queue because he's a very safe champion in the early game. He scales very well once you get a few items into the mid and late game. And honestly, in a mid and late game, he becomes completely unkillable because your third ability basically goes on like a 5-second cooldown. If you land your mystic shot, you can use all your damage at range, use all your abilities, and it's very strong. They're buffing the base damage by 10 at every single rank. So it means this early game he's going to hit harder, and it also means he's going to scale even better into the late game as well. So I definitely have to give Ezreal a try again. And do probably a video once this buff has come out. But it's a very scary buff because I think Ezreal was already quite a strong champion, so we'll have to see. Irelia Dash is too powerful tool that you can use to stick to your target, but the way that it currently follows enemy movement is over the top. Oh, okay. So Dash no longer follows enemies, flashes, and similar effects. Oh, okay, I get this. So this is basically when you use your first ability. If your first ability is in animation and the enemy tries to flash away from it, Irelia would follow. Now they won't follow. Irelia won't follow. Irelia will always stop at the position that she uses her first ability. So a little bit of a nerf to Irelia. I mean, she can't, as you can see, stick onto her target that much. Janna, interestingly enough, is getting a nerf. Howling Gale first ability, bonus damage per second charged. The base damage is going down by 5, but the ability power is staying the same. And then the second ability, the passive movement speed bonus, is staying the same in the early game, but going down ever so gradually. So it's the late game that it's a really big hit to the movement speed. So it means that you won't be getting a crazy movement speed in the late game, but the early game will be the same. And then this is just 5 base damage. I don't think this will be too much. I think the Janna will still be completely fine. I think Janna is pretty good as a support at the moment because of her disengage and how much she can threat in the laning phase as well. She's really good against, you know, champions like Alistar, Nautilus, you know, any sort of engaged champions because she works so well as disengage with the tornado and also her ultimate. But I think she'll still be completely fine. You know, protect enchant is still really good. Her third ability is still insanely strong because you have such a big shield, plus you give your ally that you give the shield also AD, which also makes her very strong. So these are some interesting changes, but I think the Janna will still be in a completely fine spot. Kassadin is getting a buff and a nerf. This is a very scary buff because the reason why they nerfed his base health recently is because of how safe and how easy it was to play Kassadin during the laning phase. Now they're just increasing the health by 30 again. I'm not too sure what I think about that because it is kind of scary, to be fair, because I mean Kassadin at the moment can play very safe during the laning phase anyway because of the range of his second ability. This means that he's going to be even tankier during the laning phase. You normally start with Ruby Crystal, you normally go for Rod of Ages first item, so that means he's just going to be stacking health, stacking AP, stacking mana as well at the same time, so he's just going to be very tanky very quickly. But the third ability is getting a bit of a nerf. After 6 spells are cast nearby, you normally get 60% damage amplification, but now it's only up to 40%, so 20% reduction on the third ability. But I still think the third ability is very strong. And like I said, the powerful part about Kassadin is how safe he can play in the early game and how well he scales into the mid and late game. So you can just Rift Roar, basically acts like a free flash, and you can just keep jumping around and dealing as much damage as possible. So yeah, I still think Kassadin will still be in a fine spot. I think his base health in the early game is going to be very nice. His third ability is not going to do that much damage, but I think once you get a few items, Kassadin is always unkillable anyway. Now, Lux, they say they did an adjustment with Lux. So let's see what adjustment they have done. Okay, so second ability, the barrier, the shield. So the shield is going down in... Oh, interesting. So it's going down in the early game. So at level 1, it's not going to be that strong. At level 2, it stays exactly the same. But the late game is really where the power comes in. So you got a 10 extra shielding in at level 4, at level 3. At level 4, you get 20 extra shielding. But the ability power has gone down. So it's more going towards support. It seems like support Lux. Obviously, this is the first part of the shield. The second part of the shield, again, going down in the early game by 20, but then staying the same and going up again in the late game with the ability power going down. So this is more to do with maybe leaning less towards the ability power ratio, so you don't need to build as much AP anymore with Lux. You can go for more supported build, like Starfall Flowing Water, Ardent Sensor, items like that, and more relying on the base shield instead. Because look at that, 40 extra base shield in the late game, and this is normally the ability that you max first as well with Lux, so you'll be getting this at like level 6. So this is really, really strong. Then the final spot of the ultimate has gone down by 10% AP ratio. So very interesting to see that they're kind of buffing support Lux, I guess we could say. Previous changes to Lux made her force be reckoned in the mid lane, but she isn't scaling as well as we'd like to in the support while we're... Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So they're nerfing mid lane and buffing support. So interesting, because Lux support is actually pretty good at the moment. I think Lux support was already pretty good. So these stats are going to make her even stronger. Quite excited. I'll probably give her a try as well in the support role. We'll have to see. Rakan, the first ability, the range is getting nerfed, so you don't get scaling range now at every single rank, but the damage is going up at every single rank. Okay, so it's going to stay at 800 throughout the entire game. So this means you can't poke as much now with the first ability. Some players was maxing his first because of the extra range that you get, so you can poke a laner phase and get the extra healing, but now it's probably not worth leveling up this ability at all. You probably leave it at level 1 because it stays the same 800 range. It's a buff in the early game at level 1, but then as the game goes on, it gets weaker and weaker. So yeah, it's quite nice. And then the base damage is going up as well. Damage doesn't really mean too much though, because most of the time you use the first ability for the healing for the rest of your team. So interesting. So range increase in the early game, but then a nerf as we get into late game. So it means that you just put 1 point into your first ability and that's it. You leave it like that. Senna's getting another buff, which is kind of crazy. The second ability is going up by 20 damage, 20, 25, 30, 35. I mean, this is a crazy buff for Senna. I already thought Senna was in a really, really good spot. The cooldown of the third ability is also going down by like 4 seconds every single rank. These are crazy buffs to Senna. I mean, they already buffed her first ability. They buffed her ultimate as well, I'm pretty sure. Now they're buffing her second ability and her third ability as well. I really think she's going to be insanely strong this patch. This is going to be a very, very scary champion to deal with, both as a support and also as fasting Senna if you're playing it with a tank by her side. But yeah, a lot of damage for the second ability now, so now it's going to be even more important to deal damage with the second ability, and lower cooldown on the third ability means that you can use this more often now, which again, like I said, is going to be very, very scary. So I'm definitely going to give her a try, but I think she's going to be very, very strong in the next patch. Seraphine, the base stats, base mana regeneration is going up. This doesn't mean anything at all. I mean, I think Seraphine's in a decent spot anyway. I didn't think she needed that big of a buff anyway, but base mana regeneration going from 12 to 16, whoop-de-doo. I mean, it doesn't really do too much. It means she can use her abilities more often. That's basically all it is. Shen. Now, this is probably one of the coolest changes, I think, in this patch. I read this because I was very curious of the Shen changes, and I'm actually really excited for this. So, Twilight's Assault, the first ability, has a new effect, and the bonus damage will apply at 50% effect to attack splash damage. So, this basically means that Shen has like an inbuilt Tiamat. If you don't know what Tiamat is an item on PC League, which basically every single time you auto attack, you do AoE splash damage. Now, this is one of the reasons why Shen is not really that good at the moment at split pushing, because it takes him a very, very long time to clear waves. You can go for Divine Sunderer, you can deal that AoE, not Divine Sunderer, sorry, Sunfire Aegis, you can deal that AoE damage, but it's just never enough. But now the first ability will be able to have splash damage, which means that Shen's pushing power is going to be a lot stronger than before. So I'm very curious to see if Shen maybe comes back into the meta as like a split push. And obviously with Shen, most of the time you want to split push, and then after you split push, you just ulti into a team fight, and then you always have that wave of pressure going down. So it's really nice. So yeah, bonus damage will apply at 50% effect to attack splash damage. So basically 50% of the bonus damage will be dealt a splash damage with the first ability. Really cool. I really liked it. I think it's honestly one of my favorite changes, I think, of the entire patch. So I'm really excited to see what this will bring. And again, we'll have to give it a try. Ziggs is getting a buff. I don't know why this champion is getting a buff. This champion is so disgustingly broken. I hate this champ. Base mana going up and mana regeneration going up. I mean, cool. I can use more abilities now with Ziggs during the laning phase. Cool, I guess. I mean, I don't know. This champ is so disgusting anyway. I mean, I don't know why the base mana is going up. It means you can just bully more in the laning phase. You just get Luden's Echo first item. You have unlimited mana now in the early game, and you can just keep spamming abilities. Now you have more mana regen. Again, you can just keep spamming abilities over and over again, which is kind of the annoying part about Ziggs, is you can keep spamming abilities. But anyway, that's that. I mean, Ziggs is already in a strong spot. He'll just be even stronger now. Vex is getting a nerf. I don't know if this nerf is the right nerf, though, to be honest with you. I think her ultimate and her combo with her second ability, which obviously is a skill with Vex and probably shouldn't be nerfed anyway, because it's one of her cooler combos and one of her combos that makes her really, really strong. But a third ability, this is the poking ability. The cooldown is going to be increased by 1 second, and the mana cost is also going up by 10 at every rank. Again, a little nerf, nothing too crazy. Maybe Vex is in a fairly decent spot. I think her wave clear is very good. She's very good against assassins because she can use her second ability to basically fear them away if the assassins play it incorrectly. Really good at assassinating herself, trying to jump in onto the backline, then using her abilities to give her shielding and also AoE fear. I think she's a really, really cool champion. She's been really, really good for the meta because it means we have another AP mage. But people have been playing her in the duo lane, which I don't like. I've not tried her in the duo lane yet, but it's something I'm definitely not going to try. All right, Yone base damage on the second ability is going down, and then the cooldown of the third ability is also going up. So nerfing his second ability and also his third ability. Base damage, this is mainly for just poking during the laning phase. You still have the shield that is very, very strong, and then the third ability, the cooldown is being increased as well, so he can't use this as often, because this ability is kind of what's really worrying for me, is that because it's on such a low cooldown, I mean, obviously it's increased by 3 seconds, but it's still fairly low. You can easily just use your third ability, deal a bunch of free damage, and then dash away to safety. The amount of times you can use this over and over again during a team fight is absolutely disgusting. So yeah, kind of happy that this is getting nerfed. Second ability getting nerfed as well, which is not too bad. Ability cost speed scaling for champion adjustments. Okay, the cost speed for Caitlyn's Piltover Peacemaker and Xayah's Double Daggers currently doesn't scale well with how quickly these champions fire off basic attacks in the late game. To address this, we're updating these abilities so that they scale with attack speed. Okay! Xayah buff. Hello? Double Daggers. Cost speed now scales with attack speed. Okay! I mean, I guess this means that these abilities, cast speed is now going to be quicker. This makes Xayah's combo now actually pretty damn insane, because you go Storm Razor first item, which gives you attack speed. You don't really build that much attack speed though, because the new build will probably be Storm Razor, i.e. Lord Dominik's Bloodthirster +1. I mean, maybe you can go for an attack speed item as the last item, maybe like Wit's End or something like that. I mean, cool. We'll have to see how this affects things, but I'm really excited for this. Okay, cool. Nice. Thanks, Riot. Thanks for the Xayah buff. Thanks, Endstep. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. Yone, Yasuo, and Tryndamere overcamp crit scaling. The intention with crit strike synergy passives for these melee champions to reward them for building aggressively, particularly in their earlier purchases. However, in their current state, they're often not able to snag other aggressive items later in the game, like Bloodthirster, because of this crit I thought this is crit crap for a second, but it says crit cap. So we're giving them a payout for overcapping crit to open up these later slots. Okay, so crit chance above 100% converts each 1% crit into 0.8 attack damage. So this basically means now if you're over the 100% crit chance with any of these champions, you now gain bonus attack damage per 1% of your crit. So if you have 10% crit chance or 10% extra crit chance, you now get an extra 8 AD. Pretty cool. the extra crit chance above 100% wouldn't be doubled by Yasuo and Yone's passive. I mean, that makes sense. But still, kind of a cool change. It means that maybe you can build multiple crit items now for these champions. We'll have to see. ARAM changes. I don't really care. There's too many things to go through. You can have a look at these. Gwen, Jhin, Xin, Yone, Ziggs. Cool. Ultra Rapid Fire as well. Even though Ultra Rapid Fire is not in the game anymore, I don't think, if I remember. Again, you can read through these changes, but again, I'm not really too bothered about them. I'm not going to go through them myself. These are the things that I'm curious with. By the way, we're only 19 pages in. It's got 10 pages to go, and it's already been half an hour. Right, gameplay changes. New items. We have the Horizon Focus item. Mage players have been asking for more options in their build path, so we're here to deliver with a new take on Horizon Focus from PC League. You'll find our new version to be useful for mages, especially those with reliable crowd control effects, to take advantage of the stacking passive. So the build path is Phoenix Codex and Haunting Guys, which is actually a really nice build path, plus 700 gold. So it's a very cheap item, 2,800 gold, 80 ability power, which is quite a damn lot, to be honest with you. I think it's the same ability power as Riftmaker, if I'm not mistaken. 150 health, which is not too much, and then 15 ability haste, which is nice. Then it has the passive. When a non-targeted ability hits a champion at least 500 range away, it applies 1 stack. And when you immobilize the champion, it adds 2 stacks. Stacks last for 5 seconds after reaching 3 stacks, and consume the stacks to deal 80 plus 20% ability power magic damage and apply another stack. Cool. This will be very good for champions like Lux. I think Lux will be really, really fond of this new item. It gives you a lot of AP, gives you a little bit of health. Maybe that's why they nerfed Lux a little bit, because there's a new item. Trying to think of other champions that could be good for 500 range away. Trying to think. Maybe like Orianna could be good, because immobilizing will also be the slow from Orianna. So I think that might be pretty good. And also her shockwave as well. Which will be quite cool, but you have to remember, you have to be at least 500 range away. I'm very curious to see, to think about how far away you can move away from Orianna's ball, or how far you can actually use her ball. Very, very curious, but 500 range away, we'll have to see how far that is. This is the first patch where you may notice that we're using high precision units instead of low precision units. It's the same way as what we used previously, except now it's times 100. So for example, if we adjust exhaust range to low precision units, it would look like this instead of 7 to 5, but now it looks like 705. Okay, cool. I mean, yeah, cool. I don't know why I read that, but yeah, 500 range. I mean, we'll have to see how far away that range is to see if champions like Orianna could use it as well, because 80 ability power is a lot, and I think the ability haste will work really hard. Also, it's really nice build path. I actually quite like the build path. Haunting Guys is pretty good, and so is Phoenix Codex. I think it's really good. Right, it's an exciting one though. Lord Dominik's Regard. This item will be broken. I'm telling you right now, this item is going to be insane for marksman, like absolutely insane. Last Whisper, core. Cloak of Agility, core. 1,000 gold, quite a damn lot, but it doesn't matter. Total cost 3,100 gold. This is a big thing. 35 attack damage, 25% crit chance, and it has the Last Whisper passive, which is scaling armor penetration. So this means now you basically got an item that does 2 things at once. You got an item that gives you armor penetration, so you don't need to build another armor penetration item, and also it's an item towards your 100% crit chance build. This means, as I mentioned already with the Xayah build, we're most likely going to be seeing Stormrazor, Infinity Edge, Lord Dominik's Regards, 75% crit chance, a bunch of armor penetration, a lot of attack damage as well, and then that means we only need 1 more crit chance item to get 100% crit chance. But this means now we can go for items like Bloodthirster as our 4th item, because we don't actually need another armor penetration item. We could just go for Bloodthirster. So we can just go Stormrazor, Infinity Edge, Lord Dominik's, Bloodthirster. So that's 4 items, and that leaves that 5th item to be completely flexible. You can go for more Mortius, Guardian Angel, Wit's End. This is a crazy change, crazy addition to Wild Rift, and I honestly think it's going to be really, really strong. The AD is not that much, but it makes up for it with the crit chance and the armor penetration. I mean, you're not going to get that much AD, but the item itself is just very, very strong. You also have the passive as well, which is different to PC League. Your first attack on a champion after being out of combat with champions has 80% increased attack speed. So this basically means that, I guess, when you're out of a team fight and when you go back into a team fight, you get 80% increased attack speed on your first attack. I don't know how this is going to work. I mean, 80% attack speed. Okay, you know what I'm thinking right now? How quick will Xayah's combo be if you just first ability, which scales with attack speed now, plus auto attack with the adrenaline buff, you can just instantly root someone now with Zaya's third ability. Okay, this might be kind of busted. I'm definitely gonna have to play a lot of Zaya and test out a lot of things because I'm really, really excited for Lord Dominik's. All right, reworked. Awakened Soul Stealer. This item was complete garbage. I'm very happy that they are finally reworking it. We'll have to see what it is. Prophet's Pendant, which I'm not really too sure if this is the right amount because I'm pretty sure Prophet's Pendant is 1,000 gold. Phoenix Codex, which is also 1,000 gold plus 750. So I'm not too sure if this total cost is right or not. It might be 2,750 because Phoenix Codex, or Prophet's Pendant, sorry. Not Phoenix Codex. Prophet's Pendant is 1,000 gold, I'm pretty sure. New stats, ability power, haste, and health. So not as much ability power as Horizon Focus. A little bit more haste and a little bit more and kind of the same health. You get the magic penetration now though. Okay, interesting. You get magic penetration. And then you have a unique passive called Soul Flare. Takedowns on enemy champions within a few seconds of dealing damage to them reduces the remaining cooldown of your abilities, including ultimates, by 20%. So this is basically like the support items, where if you get a takedown, it reduces your what's the word called? Your boots upgrade. It reduces your boots upgrade by, I think it's like 40%. Now this reduces all of your ability cooldowns. Wow, this is this might be a pretty cool item. Remain cooldowns for your abilities include ultimate by 20%. I think this is crazy. Imagine you do it on like a spamming champion like Gwen or someone like that. You just keep spamming your abilities over and over again. Someone like Orianna, this could be really good for as well. Again, you know, champions that love to jump in and combo. Diana is another champion that I think this might be really cool. You know, there's plenty of champions that I can think that this will be very, very cool with. So very excited to see what this does. And also this is a magic penetration item as well, which I think they're also remaking Morellonomicon down here, which they're removing the magic penetration and health. So yeah, this is kind of like the new Morellonomicon with the magic penetration. So really interesting. This I think is the craziest change of the entire patch. Just Divine Sunderer has been losing a bit of a sheen. I don't think so. I think Divine Sunderer is pretty damn good, but now you're increasing the ability haste and the attack damage by 25. This basically makes Divine Sunderer more broken again. I don't know. I think Divine Sunderer was already pretty good. I guess Trinity Force does give you a lot more stats overall, but Divine Sunderer is cheaper and is really good in the current meta because of how many bruisers and how many tanks have been played in the current meta. And especially because most Baron Lane champions build Divine Sunderer as well. And the problem is that if you don't build Divine Sunderer when the enemy Baron Lane has Divine Sunderer, you kind of lose just every single time because you just lose out on trades. Also because of Grasping Undying at the same time. So yeah, pretty crazy buff. I think Divine Sunderer will be the go-to build. And honestly, I think that it was already the go-to build for most Baron Laners. So Morellonomicon now has a new build path. They're changing it completely. So yeah, it says there, now that we have Soul Stealer in the penetration category, we can unbind Morellonomicon from that category, which will make it more accessible for enchanters and mages that don't want to invest in only damage items. So Phoenix Codex plus Oblivion Orb. Wait, so Oblivion Orb doesn't give Magic Pen anymore, I guess. I'm guessing it doesn't give magic. Oh no, did Oblivion Orb give magic? Wow, I've completely lost it. I'm not too sure if Oblivion Orb gave Magic Pen. I'm pretty sure it did. So you get Oblivion Orb, which is a Magic Pen. I mean, not Magic Pen, sorry. Oh, the anti-heal. Yeah, I'm stupid. So I'm losing it. I'm losing it. Don't worry. I was thinking that Oblivion Orb didn't give anti-heal. I was thinking of the Grievous Wounds, but I kind of confused it with Magic Pen. Ignore me. Phoenix Codex plus Oblivion Orb, which is fine because it still applies Grievous Wounds, plus 700 gold, so it's a very, very cheap AP item. 2,500 gold, 70 ability power, 20 haste, fantastic item. D magic damage applies 40 Grievous Wounds. I mean, this is unchanged. This is just a Grievous Wounds effect. Now it does have magic penetration health. Cool. This is a lot more of a burst damage item now. And I think with how much healing is in the game, I think Grievous Wounds is always needed. So I quite like this. This might be a really good item now for like Karma. Also, I think Karma might be really, really good with the Soul Flare as well. Yeah, Karma will be really good with Oblivion Orb now. Any other supports that maybe want to build Oblivion Orb and Morellonomicon will be really, really nice because you get a lot more AP now, which is very, very cool. Youmuu's Ghostblade is also getting a buff. The amount of gold is going down from 3,000 down to 2,900. I think this is just because how strong Serpent's Fang is at the moment. But the only reason why Serpent's Fang is so strong is because of just how much shielding there is in the current meta. You know, if you come up against like a Lulu, a Karma, Janna, anyone like that, you have to build Serpent's Fang. Like, there's just no other way around it. You have to build it. So I think they're just trying to reduce the gold of Ghostblade to make it a little bit more viable. Obviously, with Kayn coming out as well, I think this will be a must-buy item for Kayn. Make a more attractive purchase by lowering this price tag. Yeah, kind of cool. Right, new runes. How long are we? 40 minutes. We're nearly there, I think. I don't know. Actually, no, we're not nearly there because we still got all the jungle changes. All right, new runes. Champion rune replaced by sudden impact. So champion rune is gone. Thank God. I mean, champion rune was kind of busted because of how much early game power it gave. I mean, I always use champion rune as a support because most of the time you don't really die and you just keep the stacks all the time, and champions like Karma just gives an insane amount of damage, so we'll have to find a new rune choice now for them sort of champions. And now we have a new one, which is sudden impact. After exiting stealth or using a dash, leap, blink, or teleport effect, damaging an enemy champion grants 10 armor penetration and 10 magic penetration for a few seconds. This would be really good for champions like Kayn, Kha'Zix, Zeds, any sort of assassins. That'd be really, really good. Fizz as well. The reason why it's really good for champions like Kha'Zix is because of exiting stealth as well. So you're going to be dealing a huge amount of burst damage now because you're going to be able to apply even more armor penetration than before, which is going to be really, really cool. So yeah, we'll have to test this item out on some of the champions that have loads of dash effects. Like I said, especially with champions like Kayn. Rune changes. They've reworked Pathfinder. Oh, interesting. We're working Pathfinder so that it can be more efficiently support a roaming style for junglers and mid laners. Okay, so new effect. So now you gain 20 bonus movement speed in a river, which is kind of the same as before. When in the river while out of combat, restore health and mana based on the lowest value every 1 second and gain additional 10 movement speed. Okay. Oh no, it's health or missing mana. So whatever is lower, you restore health or missing mana based on lowest value every 1 second and gain additional 10 movement speed. Okay, this might be really good. I mean, I still think Hunter Genius is very strong on most junglers because of how much ability haste you get, but this could be really cool for champions that maybe just want to roam a lot. This could be really good for champions like Nunu, maybe, that really benefits a lot from movement speed. Especially when you're in the river, you get a whole bunch of movement speed already with Nunu because if you get the Scuttle Crab, and this will give you even more movement speed. Obviously, as it mentions, it will allow junglers to roam a lot quicker. And maybe, I don't know, I doubt it'd be used on mid laners. I think on junglers, maybe. We'll have to test this out and see what it's like. Because I still think Hunter Genius and other runes are going to still ride the new effect from Pathfinder. But I'm glad they changed it because I didn't think Pathfinder was that good. I also think that... what's the other one? Pack Hunter is completely useless, but they haven't reworked that yet. Maybe next patch, who knows. Inspiration, Phase Rush. Again, another rune that just never gets used at all. It's just trash, basically. It just never gets used. It's just overlooked by like Conqueror, even Fleet Footwork. Like any sort of damage runes are just so much better. So changing it. So hitting 3 champions with 3 separate attacks or abilities. So before it granted movement speed, which is 40 to 60%, which is still the same, 30 to 50%, which is the same, movement speed, and 35% slow resistance. Now it's movement speed, 10 ability haste, and reduces. I'm guessing they double worded that. Reduces your current ability cooldowns by 20%. Interesting. So, I mean, this could be really good for someone like Graves, because Graves is a champion that loves to spam abilities, especially his third ability as well. Yeah, this is like a sudden burst, and with Graves as well, it's really easy to proc Phase Rush because you're able to just use your first ability and auto attack, and because the first ability has 2 instances of damage, you just proc Phase Rush straight away, and that means that you are able to use your dash more often. Because you get the extra ability haste, you also reduce the abilities cooldown as well by 20%, which is kind of cool. Duration is 3 seconds, and the cooldown is 12 seconds. Cool. Interesting. I think only champion this could be cool on is probably Graves. I'm thinking maybe Singed, but I don't think Singed will be will like need the ability haste that much. I still think Fleet Footwork is probably better. But again, another rune that we'll have to give a try. We'll have to test it out. Some runes that got buffs, thank God. Brutal got a huge buff, 7 to 14 before, now it's 12 to 19. I still don't like this rune overall, and I still don't think this rune will ever be good because of how strong Hunter Vampirism is, especially on AD carries, how strong a rune like Triumph is, for example. which mainly gets used in the Baron lane. You also got a Giant Slayer as well, which is really strong in the current meta because there's a lot of items that you build health. You also have weakness, which is also very strong. So I think this rune will still won't be that good, but it's a lot more damage now, 12 to 19 on hit adapted damage. So we'll have to see if that changes things. Electrocute buff, I really like. It used to be 20-second cooldown at all ranks, but now it's going to be 20 to 13 seconds. I'm guessing this is based on level. So I think this is going to be really nice in the late game. You have a 13-second cooldown of Electrocute, so you can proc it more often and you can feel the effect of Electrocute more often instead of it being on a really long 20-second cooldown. So I really like this change that make Electrocute a lot stronger now in the late game, which is kind of the problem with Electrocute. It's really good in the early game, but it really didn't scale well into mid and late game, and that's why most of the time people are still using, you know, Conquer on champions like Zed and Kha'Zix. Scorch is getting a buff as well. The cooldown is getting reduced, and also the AP is going up by a little bit, ever so slightly. Again, another rune that just gets overlooked by the runes I already mentioned in the domination tree. So again, it's just the same thing. This is also not domination. This is a keystone, so I'm not too sure why this is here. Yeah, cool that they reloaded the cooldown. Maybe this might be good on some poke champions, like maybe Ziggs or someone like that. We'll have to see. Triumph. Players should be able to triumph over champions, not jungle monsters. Deal 5% bonus damage to targets lower than 35% health. Deal 5% bonus damage to champions. So, wait, did this work on jungle monsters? Players should be triumphant over enemy champions, not... I never knew that this worked on jungle monsters. Did anyone... Okay, let me know if you've watched this far in the video or if you're on this section of video. Let me know down in the comments and let me know if you actually knew that this worked on jungle camps, because I never knew this worked on jungle camps. That's kind of mind-blowing. I actually had no idea that this worked on jungle camps at all. That's cool. But it's not cool anymore because it's not in the game anymore. Now it only works on champions. But I mean, the rune will still be fine. I think most of the time, most champions weren't really building Triumph in the jungle that much, but... Cool. I didn't know that was the thing, but hey ho. Adaptive Carapace. I've been using this rune a little bit more often recently, just because of how much early game health you get and how much resistances you get. But now the resistances are going up by 4 armor and 4 magic resist, which is going to be quite nice. I've just been using this a little bit more just to give me more laning phase pressure, because I feel like laning phase is so important in Wild Rift at the moment. So yeah, we'll have to see. Bopo's effect not working against the initial hit made it difficult to appreciate and too easy to play around for the enemy. Effect blocks damage from 3 attacks after the initial hit. Blocks damage from the triggering attack and 2 more attacks. Okay. Oh, I see now. Oh, okay. So before it used to be it blocks 3 attacks after you got hit, because the little projectile comes up, but now it always blocks the first hit and also 2 more attacks after that. So this is really good against, you know, assassins that might jump on top of you and might do a huge bunch of damage at first and then just auto attack afterwards, and you don't really feel the effect, but now it's going to be even stronger against that. Cool. Awesome. I like the rune changes. I like the rune and item changes. I think there's going to be a lot of cool runes, a lot of cool changes. Now the big one, jungle. This is long. Look how long this jungle section is. I mean, look, jungle camp, Lee Shin, all this stuff. Yeah, there's a lot. Anyway, let's get through it because we got a lot to get through and my voice is starting to go. Maybe I need a little bit of a drink. Right, who's ready, chat? Let's go. Let's break through this. Let's see what we think. All right, just the Smite, Challenger Smite, and Chilling Smite. Cool. They removed Challenging Smite, which is what they already said in the patch preview, because most of the people were not really using Challenging Smite anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Smite active, deal 600 true damage to large or epic monsters or minion and restore 70 plus 10% bonus, 10% total health. Upgrade to Chilling Smite after 3 uses. So this basically makes early jungle clear insanely quick now, like stupidly quick. I mean, we'll have to see what the base stats are of the jungle camps now, because maybe they buffed or changed a few things, but this makes clearing through jungle quicker now, because now Smite doesn't scale with level. Smite now has a flat 600 damage. That is it. It's going to have flat 600 damage throughout the whole game, and it's going to also make like solo win objectives now maybe that little bit quicker, like major objectives like Rift Herald and Dragons. So this makes early jungle clear quicker, and to be honest, some champions already early jungle cleared very quickly, so I'm very scared. I'm worried about this. All right, passive jungle expertise. You get 20% gold slash XP from jungle monsters, but temporarily earn 60% less gold XP from minions. I think this is the same as before, because you get less gold from farming minions when you have Smite active. 15% damage and 15% additional ability power to jungle monsters when you use Smite. That makes sense. Restore 40 health over 5 seconds while fighting jungle monsters. Restore 4% mana every 4 seconds while in the jungle or river. Most of this is pretty much exactly the same as far as I'm aware. I don't think much has changed there. I can't remember the Smite numbers exactly off the top of my head because it's hard to remember all the Smite numbers, but I think most of this is pretty much the same. Chilling Smite again against jungles or monsters. You deal 800. Okay, so now it goes up to 800 true damage. So it goes from 600 true damage up to 800 true damage after 3 uses. So basically, after your first clear, you're going to have Chilling Smite straight away. And it's going to go up to 800. 800 true damage after 1 full jungle clear? That sounds absolutely disgusting. I mean, your jungle clear speed now is going to be absolutely ridiculous. And then you obviously restore health as well. Against champions, you deal 38 to 184 true damage and still movement speed, which is still exactly the same. Passive jungle expertise, same as Smite passive. Cool. New. Okay, so now we have this new thing called jungle conservation. We're introduced to the conservation system to make roaming and ganking lesser punishing to jungle players and give junglers an opportunity to catch up when they have fallen behind. So at the moment in the current meta with jungles, you basically go like a full clear until level 5, and sometimes you don't even gank at level 5. You just do full clear until level 5, you go back to base, you just go back to your krugs, you just keep farming and farming and farming and farming. This new system being introduced is basically making it so you're trying to balance both farming and also ganking at the same time, so you're not going to have the crazy power farming junglers anymore. Basically that's what they're trying to do, but we'll have to see if that actually does make a difference. Smite and Chilling Smite now grant the user the conservation buff. Every 5 seconds a player gains 12 or 6 stacks towards their conservation buff. The number of stacks earned is based on the gold income of the player and the player's team. If the player's team gold is lower than the enemy's team gold by 10% or more, and if the player's gold income is lower than their allies by 5% or more, gain 12 stacks per 5 seconds. Okay, so it's basically making it so you get more stacks if your team is behind or if you're behind. So you're basically going to get more stacks if you're behind or your team's behind. Cool. And then the other state gains 6 stacks per 5 seconds. Cool. When you call a large monster or epic monster, you will consume all current stacks of the conservation buff, granting you 1 gold per stack. Was a maximum of 150. So this basically means now, so every 5 seconds you're going to be getting these stacks. So this means that you can gank more, and every time you're ganking, every time you're roaming around the map, you're getting stacks, and every time you gain stacks, you're going to be gaining basically gold every single time, because when you kill a large monster or epic monster, which is like dragon or herald, you're going to consume these conservation stacks and you'll be granting 1 gold per stack. So if you go up to like 150 stacks, that's your maximum. When you take the blue buff, boom, instant 150 gold, straight like that. So again, this is more towards trying to gank more often and trying to get the stacks of conservation so you get more gold and you help your team more, rather than keep farming over and over again. Because if you keep farming over and over again, these stacks won't be able to conservation stacks won't be able to stack up as much, and then you won't get the crazy amount of extra gold. So again, it's trying to make the balance between both farming and ganking at the same time, if that makes sense. Hopefully that made sense. Jungle leashing. This has been one of the most annoying things I think in the game, and what makes Morgana jungle very, very strong at the moment is because you can do blue buff raptors, blue buff and grump at the same time, and raptors and red buff at the same time. This basically makes it so Morgana can get level 5, and when you're bot lane, you're only level 3. You just get flashed in, you get Morgana ultied into binding, boom, you're dead. So basically, they're trying to get rid of that. So the reason why double leashing, jungle camp leashing has been a thing is because of the attack range of some of the jungle camps. For example, raptors. Raptors had a 3 attack range, but now that's going to be reduced to 1. So that meant that you were able to pull the raptors and pull the red buff at the same time, basically sit in the middle and use the pull and basically get the AoE damage and kill both at the same time. Now you're not going to be able to do that. Same with red buff as well. Red buff has also been reduced from 2.2 down to 1.5. So this is going to be a lot harder to do now, especially with this raptor nerf. I still think grump and blue buff you'll still be able to do. Again, it will probably have to do with testing. I spoke to Darkbreaker a little bit. He said that raptors and red buff is very difficult, but grump and blue buff is still possible. So I have to see when we actually get into the game itself to see what there is. Jungle monster camps. Rebalancing jungle monster camps to make jungle less frustrating, more accessible, especially for newer players. Expand to see more. Well, I mean, we've already expanded. Non-epic jungle camp level cap. So it's gone from 10 to 12. So that basically means that we're going to have scaling, more scaling jungle camps. But then it also means that we're probably going to get more gold, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe this just makes it stronger. Camps begin to level up every 60 seconds after the first 30 seconds of the game. So that means... okay, so about okay, so I'm guessing this is like at the 12-minute mark there'll be maximum level. Cool, interesting. Non-epic monster camps armor magic resist reduced to 0. Okay, so this is is this every non-epic monster camps armor, this is every single, I think this is including red and blue buff, because non-epic monsters, I mean, epic to me means dragon, herald, and baron. So that means that all jungle camps now will not have any armor or magic resist. I mean, this is going to make jungle clear even faster. Like, what is going on? Non-epic jungle monster health. Yeah, look, non-epic jungle monster health. This is red buff. So red buff and blue buff are basically going to have no armor and no magic resist. The same with Krugs, everything else. Okay, interesting. Red buff, 2,500 health plus 140 per level. Now it's 2,200 health, so it's going to be weaker in the early game. Again, quicker for you to farm up. And then it's going to be 180 per level. So eventually it's going to scale more because you get more levels. And this means that the 180 per level is going to scale up more. I'm not going to do the maths off the top of my head to see if it's going to be roughly the same health, but it seems like it because you're losing 300, but you're gaining 40 health per level. Which means that you're probably going to get like 400 health at level 10. I can't do the maths. The maths is too long. But yeah, I mean, it's probably about the same amount. And then evolved red buff, downing health again, but again, more scaling level. Same with blue buff probably. Yep, 2,200, 180. And the same here, 3,200. Cool. Merc wolf, which I think is the big wolf, if I'm not mistaken. 550 and 38 per level. 450 now with 50 per level. So again, making it quicker for that first jungle clear, but making it harder as the game goes on. Every minute it will gain 50 health. Oh, sorry, these are the two small ones. The greater Merc Wolf is 1,800 health, being reduced to 1,600. Holy shit. It's gone from 30 to 100 health per level. Okay, again, this is all about making the first jungle clear easier. So you basically want to, you still kind of want to go for that first full jungle clear, I think, because of your Smite being buffed and also how quick it is to take down jungle camps. But again, it's going to be harder and harder as the game goes on. Krugs is going down as well, and it's going to have the same health per level, so that means Krug is now going to be easier to take. And the ancient Krugs as well, so 1,200, that's going down, and it's now 90 per level. So it means Krugs, the small Krugs are now easier to take, but the big Krug is, well, the big Krug is also easier to take, but also scale is a bit better. Cool. Raptor and Crimson Raptor. So Raptor again going lower in health, but more health per level. And again, oh, okay, so Crimson Raptor, so the Raptors is actually staying the same, and it's getting crazy extra buff. So it means Raptors are going to be hard at about the same time to take. So I think most of the time you're still going to go for Krugs into red buff into Raptors. So that means you'll probably get level 3 when you get Raptors, so it'll be probably easier to take. Grump going down, and then more health per level, and Rift Scuttler's going down, but again more health per level. Oh, this makes it easier to take Rift Scuttler now. Interesting. Cool. Non-epic jungle camp respawn cooldown. So these are going up. So these are Krugs and Wolves are going up by 5 seconds. Oh, Raptors and Grump as well. Oh, so all the mini camps are all going up by 1 second in jungle clear. Interesting. Cool. Non-epic jungle gold. Oh my god, Jesus, this is crazy. Okay, this is a lot to read. I mean, you can kind of see you're getting less gold now in the early game. It looks like less gold. Oh no, same gold. It looks like you're getting less gold now in the early game for most things. Which means you're not going to get a huge massive gold when you're doing your first jungle clear, but now you get scaling gold, so now it's +3 gold per level. So even though the health is going up, you're actually going to get more gold per level now, so it means that you're just going to get more gold overall as the game goes on. XP changes. XP is also going down, but that means that XP per level is going up. So how much XP now do you get from where's Krug? So normally when you do Krugs and ancient Krugs, you normally have level 3 by the time you get Raptors. So you clear Krugs, which is actually more XP now. Holy shit, the smaller Krug is more, but now you get less XP from the ancient Krug. So that means that because there's more Krugs, you're actually going to get level 2 easier and quicker. Interesting. Red buff is then going to be 200 less XP. Okay, so you might... I'm not too sure if you're going to get level 3 then by the time you get Raptors. Very, very interested to see if you get level 3 by the time you get Raptors. But as you can see, most of it is less XP in the early game, which is good because it means that full jungle clear, you might not be able to get level 5 anymore. Again, it will probably have to do with testing. But yeah, we'll have to see with that and see how all of this... I mean, this is a lot of stuff to read. Same red buff as well, evolved red buff. This is all to do with the attack ranges. Krug camp. Krugs no longer split into mini. Oh, you no longer have mini Krugs now. Wait, so this makes it much quicker to take down Krugs. Wait, so the Krugs, so these are the second tier Krugs, which is going to give more XP. And now these Krugs don't go into mini Krugs. So now it's going to be much quicker to clear Krugs in the early game. Okay, wow. This is going to make your jungle clear a lot quicker. And also you get more XP now from the Krugs. This is probably because you don't have the mini Krugs, which don't give you XP anymore. Interesting. So I think it's probably still down overall then on XP because the reason why this has gone up is you don't have mini Krugs. But yeah, interesting. Cool. All right, new shareable red and blue buff. This is basically a point of the game where you're able to share red and blue buff. This is basically Ivan's passive. If you don't know from PC League, where you have the area, and if one of your teammates walks over the area, they get blue buff or red buff for free. Red buff and blue buff that spawn after 7 minutes will drop a second crest or cinders insight for allies. That means that mid laners now can go and get the blue buff and AD carries can now get the red buff. It's so important and you need to make sure you grab these every single time they're up and available. Even if you have a great lane state, even if you have you know, if you have farmer, okay, maybe if you have farmer the tower, wait until they're actually there. Wait, I'm actually curious to see. Okay, so they're on the ground for 45 seconds. They're on the ground for a good amount of time. So that means that if you're underneath tower, you need to clear that wave as quick as possible and go and take the red buff. The red buff that you get now for AD carries, and this is also a big thing now for junglers because that means junglers can now get double buffs constantly, and also you don't have to give over red buff anymore to your AD carries or anything like that. Amazing buff, really good. I really like this. This also means that junglers are going to get more XP overall because they're going to be able to take down the jungle buffs themselves. This shed buff will only drop for jungler. Only drop if the jungler clears camps. Okay, this means that in the late game, if you are an AD carry, please do not take the red and blue buffs. This is going to be like support items and jungle leashing all over again. If you're not late game, if you're an AD carry, do not take the buff. Make sure your jungler takes the buff and just take the red buff like duration thing, whatever is around it. Hi. Any ally except the jungler that can pick up the buff shed by sitting in the range of 2.5 seconds. Cool. So again, after 7 minutes in the game, which is kind of when lane phase is over anyway, make sure you get red buff if you're AD carried. If you're mid laner, make sure you go over and get the blue buff. Second crescent will not drop if the enemy slays your red buff or blue buff. Cool. This makes it so invading blue buff and red buff will now be more important because you don't only deny one blue buff, but you're also going to deny 2 blue buffs now, or potentially 2 red buffs, which is going to make it really interesting. And then evolved Crest of Cinders and Crest of Insight has been removed because of this new shareable thing, which is awesome. Rift Herald is going to be absolutely insane this patch. The total summoning animation has been reduced basically by half, and the headbutt against the tower dash cast time has also been reduced to about half. Crazy buff. This makes it so you can just use Rift Herald very quickly now. Sometimes with Rift Herald you have to wait so long for the cast animation. And that basically means that you have to tank the tower for the first few shots and then try and wait for the Rift Herald to charge afterwards. This makes it so Rift Herald is a lot quicker now. It means you can get towers a lot quicker, which means you can rotate around the map and you can do things a lot easier now. Really like the changes to Rift Herald. I think Rift Herald was already strong, but now it's going to be even stronger, which is awesome. Bounty mechanics. Why are they changing bounties again? This always overcomplicates things. All right. Ever had a game where you were doing great and a single death gave your killer 2k gold? Yep, I've been in that position. Well, we're capping the bounty system so that the price for one mistake is not as gigantic. Okay, maximum bounty a player can occur. Uncapped to 1,300 gold. Interesting. So now the maximum bounty is now only going to be 1,300 gold. That means the comeback mechanic for someone who gets a shutdown is not going to be that important. Maximum bounty gold payment for one shutdown is now capped at 1,000 gold. Bounty that are not fully dropped in the first shutdown will be added to the next shutdown. Interesting. Champion takedown experience as well. We're adjusting takedown experience in the early levels to smooth the impact of early kills. We're also delaying the start time of the experience catch-up mechanic. The one that gives you more XP if you can sniff behind. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, that's really good, actually. delaying the start time of the catch-up mechanic in XP means that laning phase is now going to be even more important. That means if you get an early level lead, whether that be through farming, whether that be through a kill, I think that's going to be really, really important, because now the experience catch-up activation is now 3 minutes. So if you can get that's basically laning phase. That 3 minutes is basically laning phase. If you can get an advantage in the laning phase and get a huge level lead, this makes solo carrying a lot more important now, and this makes laning phase a lot more important, which is really, really good. I really, really like this change. It means that, you know, 30 seconds, your enemy opponent's not going to get like a crazy bonus experience for being so far behind. It means that if you're ahead, you're going to stay ahead at least for 3 minutes, and you can get further and further ahead if you manage to wave and if you get a big advantage. So I really, really like this change. Right, so what they've done to takedowns. So experience grant old spirit. Wait, what? I thought they said reducing. It doesn't smooth the impact of early kills. Wait, so they're giving more oh, okay, I'm trolling. Okay, level 1, you get more. Then level 2, you get lower. Level 3, you get lower. Level 4 and level 5. Okay, so experience is lower. But you get more experience now if you get a kill at level 1. Okay, time for level 1 invades. Actually, no, it's not. It's never going to be a thing. But yeah, in level 1, kills never happen. I mean, most of the time, it's like level 5 they happen when you get your ultimates. Again, this XP is not going to be mean too much, because the big thing is this is going to be the big thing now, is this catch-up activation. So if you can get an early lead before 3 minutes, it's going to be huge, absolutely massive. And then we have the skins, the crystal rose skins and everything as well. Some cool accessories. We got some little Jhin cosmetics, the little crystal rose things, some cool baubles as well. We got Jin's gun, which looks pretty cool. Some icons, icon borders and everything as well. And then we have some extra bits. When a scribe's born plant detects enemies that were not in your vision, it will automatically send the enemy's champion spotted ping in your team now. Oh, cool. And the music on recalls to certain skin tiers. Cool. Wait, cool. I want to know what skin tiers now. I want to see music. Update the skin tier gem visuals in the collection store. Cool. Animal visuals to A1 progression and end of game settlements. Awesome. And then you have your free play champions. 1 hour and 5 minutes of patch notes. There is a lot in this patch. I'm really excited for a lot of things. New items. I'm really excited for all the jungle changes. I'm not really a jungle main myself, but I'm definitely going to be trying out because Kayn and Aatrox. New champion changes, new champions. There are so many things to go through in this patch, and I'm going to be smashing out the content as much as I can. And like I said, the first set of content that I'm going to be bringing out is going to be Kayn and Aatrox, which is going to be released tonight. I'm going to be doing full guides on them, builds, everything you need to know about the champions, so make sure you keep an eye on them. Thank you all for tuning into this video. If you watch from start to finish, you are a legend, and I love every single one of you. Hopefully you enjoy the patch. See you all tomorrow for the new patch on stream, link down in the description, or make sure you check out the YouTube channel as well. So I'll see you all very soon. Take care. Peace.